Hello, everyone. This is author, motivational speaker, and dating coach Matthew C. Horne, and I bring you a video tonight titled "Extending Your Prime as a Sexually Attractive Man." It's brought to you by my books, How to Get Beautiful Women and Everything Else You Want from Life, in addition to How to Be Appealing to Successful Black Men for Black Women. They're both available at my website, www.matthewchorne.com. Get your copies. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe, and to continue to push with the algorithm so I can continue to bring you these elevated messages. But let's get right to it. I have one for you tonight. Extending your prime as a sexually attractive man. And this video was brought about from a conversation I had with the members of my community, Matthew C. Horne Dating, on the school platform that's outside of YouTube. And one of the gentlemen asked me not too long ago, as we were on our Monday night Zoom call, what is your prime? And I had to really break down the prime. And so I want to extend the conversation that I had in my dating group to you all tonight, the viewers. And the first aspect that's very important of understanding what your prime is, your prime as a man is when women who are in their prime offer themselves to you sexually with no dates, no offerings, no negotiations, none of that stuff. They just offer themselves to you because they're that sexually attracted to you. And when I say women in their prime, we're talking, dating age 21 to about 28 years old, okay? That's the woman's prime right there in terms of her beauty. So when women in the prime of their beauty offer themselves to you sexually, that's when you know that you're in your prime, because women in the prime of their beauty are offered themselves to you sexually. So I had to very clearly delineate her prime and how it translates to your prime as a sexually attractive man. And I want to get into the ages, okay? So the young men who watch, this is for you as well, but I would say from, 20, 21 to early 30s, okay? Genetically, your body's going to respond to any level of discipline that you implement to it, okay? If you're in your early 20s to early to mid 30s, then if you care about yourself, you're automatically going to have a physical prowess and a level of attraction to women in the prime of their beauty that they offer themselves to you sexually with no dates, no offerings, no negotiations and things like that. That's how you know you're in your prime as a man, when women who are in the prime of their beauty offer themselves to you sexually. But tonight, I'm talking about that in addition to extending your prime, okay? So men begin to physically change, okay? Metabolism slows down at about 30, but you're still very young, up until about, I would say, 35 as a man. 36, you still can implement some discipline, change your appearance if you get off a track, and have young, beautiful women offer themselves to you, okay? You're in the environments of young, beautiful women, and they're responding to you. Up until about 36, 37 as well. I'm going through my progressions of my ages and how women have responded to me. 36, 37, life is beautiful as a man because you still look very young, and your body will respond to whatever level of discipline that you implement to your body. And that's going to translate to young, beautiful women, 21 to 28 in the prime of their beauty, responding to you sexually, okay? There's no excuse for a man who is 37 years or younger to not have 21, 23, 25, 27-year-old women regularly offering themselves to you as a sexually attractive man. Your prime is extended because you've accepted that genetically there are things changing, okay? Metabolism, you might be able to put on a little bit more weight than you normally put on, and maybe even energy levels change and things like that, but that's a decline that you can reverse, okay? I would say 36 to 37 and beyond, like early 40s and things like that, you have to accept the extreme level of discipline that you have to implement into your life in order for your prime to be extended. So, like I said, I'm just backtracking my life. 36, 37 was the most amazing years I've ever had. Okay, and things are still good right now, but there was a special magic that was just sprinkled on me at 36 and 37. I mean, I had escapades that I couldn't even talk about because people wouldn't even believe them. Young, beautiful women, 23, 25, 26 years old, just walking up to me and saying, let's go right now. Not knowing my name or anything like that. But I'm talking from the vantage point of the sexually attractive man and the concerted effort of what it took to extend my prime and to capitalize on the prime years of my life. And I'm extending that to you tonight. So I can say, 36, 37, I was exerting extreme discipline. And right now, I still exert the same discipline, okay? So I'm just trying to bring it all together because there's a lot to talk about. And like 36, 37, at that point, I had begun to do some extreme things that I started in my early 30s, okay? And the extreme things that I did, I juiced every day. You have to learn how to reverse the clock. Once you hit 30, you have to start reversing the clock. Biologically, physically. And that's going to translate to sexually as well because you're taking great care of yourself. So one thing that I implemented that I still implement to this day is I juice every day. Beets, kale, broccoli, and lime. I go to the international market, I get my superfoods, and I juice them before I eat any meal. And I usually fast at least 12 hours before I eat every day. So there has to be an extreme level of discipline if you're going to extend your prime and be sexually desirable and sexually attractive to young women in their prime, and they're primitively choosing you. They're primal in their nature of choosing you. Sex is their idea. But that's based on the extreme levels of discipline that you're going to implement into your life. And I'm jumping around with the ages. So I can just remember like 34. 34 as a man, you're still extremely young. You should have 23-year-old women checking you out, offering themselves to you on a regular basis. 23, 26, 27, 28. That's how it should be. If you're a sexy, attractive man and you're not even really approaching getting older, but you're getting a little bit older. Let's say 34, 33, 35, and things like that. At 34, I had a 23-year-old girl that I dealt with for 7 months. And we seriously considered each other, but it didn't work out. But, we were intimate, we were sexual within 30 minutes of us meeting. She gave me that look, she had to have me, I wanted her, and it went down. And young women choose you from your appearance and your sexual prowess, okay? This is talking about your prime, okay? When you're in that mid-30s, early 30s age range and younger, you should not have any sexual problems. You should be able to sexually deliver and take young, beautiful women to heights that they have not experienced if you take care of yourself. So there's an extreme level of discipline that you have to implement into your life if you're going to have women in the prime of their beauty choose you sexually as soon as they meet you. And I can remember this young girl. I met her off of Bumble. I said, okay, I want some younger women. And I was going out on a regular basis, and I adjusted my age range on Bumble to like early 20s. And I had it maybe from like 21 to 28 because I knew I could capture those women's attention because I was in a precipice of myself. I cared about myself. I exerted extreme discipline, so I knew that's what I deserved. And I know those were the type of women who responded to me. So I said, let me give myself more access. So all the dating apps, I put it from 21 to 28, and I was 34. And I met this young woman, 23, 5'8", red bone. You know how I like them if you watch my videos. I love me some little red bones. And tall, just like I like them. And she took one look at me. I picked her up from some party. And, I was very successful as well. So you have to have a backdrop of success. I had the nice black S550 Mercedes. And I just remember when I picked her up, her friends looked at me sitting in the car and they saw the Benz and they were like, oh man, they started clapping and cheering her on. And then when I saw her and she walked around to the passenger side of my door, I was like, man, she looks even more beautiful in person. So we really inhaled each other. And I took her to where she lived. We sat in the car for a second, and she was done with the conversation. She gave me that look, and I had to pull up, get away from everybody, kind of pull to a discreet place. And, we hopped in the back seat, and it went down. And we were together for 7 months after that, virtually every day. So I'm saying that there's no excuse, especially when time is on your side, as a sexually attractive man, a man who cares about himself. That's what makes you sexually attractive, because you're exuding the care that you have for yourself from the inside out. You're emanating, it's radiating in your appearance, the way that you've accomplished things in life. Everything is emanating and it's radiating from you, and young, beautiful women feel that. And so she felt that. But young, beautiful women, they choose you on a very primal level, okay? So the next morning, because I spent the night at her place, I just remember her saying, I got up out of the bed, and she looked at me, and she knew I was 11 years older than her. And she says, "You look so youthful. You look so youthful." Being youthful in appearance to young, beautiful women is a concerted effort as you're getting older. It's a concerted effort. And then another thing that she says, I don't want to get too specific, but I took her to a sexual height that she had never experienced. Like, she let some liquid go, if you can kind of read in between the lines. And she says, "I'm not going anywhere. You made me squirt." I'll be specific. She says, "I'm not letting you go anywhere. I'm not going anywhere. Like, you have me." And that is a primal level of attraction. And not too long after that, we met up in Adams Morgan in DC, and she wanted me to come out and meet her friends, and she was at the spot, and I pulled up, and she immediately introduced me to all her other 23-year-old friends that she was in grad school with. And she stood to the side of me after she introduced me to her friends, and her look on her face was, "Look at this motherfucker that I found." She was so satisfied with me, so satiated, and so attracted to me, 11 years older than her, that she stood beside me like I was a prize, and looked at her friends like, "Look what I found." That was the look on her face. And when women are in the prime of their beauty, and you're extending your prime as a sexually attractive man, women will not just have sex with you as soon as they meet you and it's their idea. They will stand beside you and show you off as some sort of trophy. That's how you know you're in your prime, and that's how you know you're extending your prime as a sexually attractive man. So you can't let the extreme level of discipline that you have to exert into your everyday life on a daily basis, you cannot let that be lost. As you're getting older, things are slowing down. Metabolism, everything might not be as tight as it was, but especially in your 30s, your body will still respond quickly if you exert extreme discipline. So one thing that I do to extend my prime, because I still have women in the prime of their life, like even over the weekend, I rode her to a spot just to say what's up before I went to DC. There's a spot that I go to in Virginia, and as soon as I rode up out of the car, some 23-year-old girl grabbed me. She said, "Hi, handsome." I said, "Yeah, how you doing?" She's like, "Where's the after party?" But I saw she was with a group of people, and I didn't quite know what was going on. So, she tried to grab me over to the group, and I kind of like pulled myself back. I was like, let me assess the situation first. But I'm focusing on her primal level of attraction to me. That's what the focus is for you. How to elicit the primal level of attraction from women who are in the prime of their beauty. That's how you know you're still in your prime. And she wanted me to leave with them, and she had singled me out, but I was already headed to DC, and I didn't really know those group of people, and I don't really play those games. But what I'm saying is that her first natural biological response to me when she saw me, "Hi, handsome," just like that, didn't ask me for anything, wanted to go with me that night, so that's what I'm talking about. That's your prime right there. And you're pushing past 37, you're going into your early 40s, and things are definitely slowing down. They're definitely slowing down at that point. You can't escape it as a man. So you have to begin to do more extreme things to extend your prime. And I'm just introducing things that I do that has me at my prime. And you know, some of y'all wonder how old I am. I'll be 42 next week. No one thinks I look my age and things like that because I exert extreme discipline. So in addition to juicing every day on an empty stomach, putting superfoods in my body, in addition to that, I run 15 to 20 miles a week. That's extreme. But if you want to extend your prime, and it's not just for beautiful women, it's health-wise. Every time you go to the doctor, you know, your blood work is immaculate, your blood pressure, you know, blood sugar, everything's prime. Extending your prime is a very concerted effort. So there's a lot of reward in exerting the discipline to extend your prime as a man. And so 15 to 20 miles every week, like clockwork, religiously. Caloric deficit, making sure I don't eat any more than 2,300 calories a day. And most often than not, I'm around maybe 1,900, 2,000 calories max every day, which keeps me looking extremely young. Making homemade dressings out of non-fat Greek yogurt. I mean, you have to scorch the earth. You know, you're past 37, you have to scorch the earth if you want to maintain your youth. Women biologically choose you on your youthful appearance and your sexual prowess. So you have to accept the extreme level of discipline that you have to exert and implement into your life every day. There's no cutting corners. You know, after 34, 35 and things slow down, there's no cutting corners. You have to go to extreme measures. So 15 to 20 miles a week. And then if I ever feel myself putting on any weight, I go to the basketball court. I'm talking extreme stuff right now. This is the truth of what you have to do to extend your prime as a sexually attractive man. I do not go to the basketball court unless I've run 4 or 5 miles beforehand. Extreme. But extreme has to be viewed as necessary if you're going to extend your prime as a sexually attractive man. And so I can run the 4 or 5 miles, go play basketball with the young guys in their 20s, go up and down the court, make them chase me around, and then pull myself together, feeling great, eat a little something, and then go out that night. And then some 20-something-year-old girl in the prime of her beauty is looking at me, hello, handsome. And that's how it goes every time. Because I've made concerted efforts to extend my prime as a sexually attractive man. You have to really take inventory of your discernible sexually attractive qualities, your discernible qualities as a man. That's how you know the amount of work that you have to do to extend your prime. Everyone is dealt a different hand, physically, okay? So you have to have at least 2 discernible attractive qualities that make women in the prime of their life view you as a sexually attractive man and offer themselves to you sexually, okay? So outside of the extreme discipline, I work with what I have, okay? So at 6'5", I have height. That's going to extend my prime. That's going to make me attractive. And then on top of that, you know, you have your height, you know, you have your build, you have, you know, the way that you groom yourself. You have to take inventory of the time in your life when young, beautiful women were responding to you in the most receptive manner when they were offering themselves to you. And if that time of your life has passed, then you have to exert an extreme level of discipline to revisit that time in your life. How did you look? How put together were you? How much did you weigh? You have to have real conversations about your discernible attractive qualities and when women responded to you in the most receptive and sexual manner as they offer themselves to you, women in the prime of their beauty. You have to be very honest with yourself. Declining is a byproduct of you not having honest conversations with yourself. Declining is a byproduct of you not exerting the necessary discipline to revisit the times in your life when beautiful young women in the prime of their beauty were offering themselves to you sexually. Extending your prime is a very concerted effort. It's a very concerted effort. And it's a real thing. It's a real thing. I'm not sitting up here lying to you, telling you can have any woman you have because you're older and you have money. That's a bunch of fucking bullshit. Women have to desire you primally. You have to be her first choice. Her first choice is the man that she instinctively looks at and says, I have to have sex with him. That's her first choice. And I'll revisit last year. Like I said, I'm 41 right now. Last year I was 40. And I went out one night and I met this, I'm talking about flawless, beautiful young woman. Stopped me in my tracks when I saw her. And me being who I am, I went and talked to her. She was 24 years old. Okay, I was 40. And I got her number, we had some small talk, and as soon as we got away from everybody, she called me and says, I hope I'm not being too forward, but I want to see you. Basically, I want to go have sex with you. So I went and picked her up from her girl's car, and she came back to my place, and we were walking up to my residence, and she was just like, how old are you? And I was just like, take a guess. She said 34. I said, no, I'm 40. Because when you look good and you've extended your prime, you don't have to lie to women. See, that's when a man knows that he's beyond his prime. He has to lie to women about his age. But if you exert extreme discipline and care about yourself, then you don't have to lie to women. And she couldn't believe it. She never thought that she would be that sexually attracted to a man that was 16 years older than her. And of course, we went to my place, we did what we did, but here's a biological breakdown of extending your prime. I was able to physically perform over and over and over again. And so she began to analyze me on a biological and sexual level, because that's how young, beautiful women choose you as you're getting older as a man, biologically and sexually. They don't want to see any separation from your sexual performance, your appearance, versus the men in her actual age group. She doesn't want to see any separation. And when she's very attracted to you, she's going to begin to assess you. This is very important in terms of extending your prime as a sexually attractive man. So she made a comment as we woke up and we were having sex for like the third time. And she said, you don't have any erection problems. Yeah, hard as a bull. No additives, no honey packs, no Viagra, none of that stuff. Just caring about myself. Discipline, eating right, caloric deficit, working out. The night I met her, I ran 4 miles, and I went and played about 4 games of full court basketball on a time clock. It was basically the equivalent of about 48 minutes of basketball, running up and down the court. Made sure my hair was cut. Made sure I was completely tight when I went out that night. And it translated to her level of attraction to me. So like I'm saying, she began to make the comments of, oh, you don't have any erection problems, and oh, you take care of me, and things like that, like physically. And so, unbeknownst to me, she was assessing me on a biological level, and a sexual level. And that's why as you're getting older, you have to understand that women are choosing you based on a youthful appearance, which is biological, and a sexual prowess. She wants to be satisfied, but she doesn't want to look at you as a sexual diminished experience versus the men in her age group who can perform. So this is very important in terms of extending your prime. And we began to spend a lot of time together. We looked up, it was a week later, she hadn't left my place, and she says, I'm not used to wanting to be around men for this long. And I said, I'm not used to having women around me this long. And then that's when the emotions began to develop, and not too long after that, she looked at me and essentially told me we were in a relationship, but we weren't in the relationship until she developed the relationship with her assessment of me on a primal level, biologically and sexually. That's how you extend your prime as a sexually attractive man. There's no holes in your game. You have a vision for your life. You take yourself seriously. There's a trail and a track record of success and elevated vision behind you. The young, beautiful woman can trust you that she's safe in your presence, that you're going to continue to elevate, and that you can provide for her. She's going to trust you that there's no decline and there's no separation from men in her age group sexually. She's going to trust you and desire you physically. That's what's going to get her into your presence. There's a very concerted effort into extending your prime as a sexually attractive man. And right on cue, what did this 24-year-old girl do? She's out with her homegirl, because you give the young girl space. They have to have space to choose you, okay? For a young woman, as you're getting older, you have a young, gorgeous woman, everything has to be her idea. You cannot force a young woman into a relationship. She's going to feel trapped because she's her young, rogue self. She wants to be all over the place, and that's a time in her life where she can do it. And so right on cue, she invites me out, and I go to the spot. I say hello to her because I don't want to put any claim on her and things like that, but this is after we've been in a relationship. And, I bought her a drink because that was my girlfriend. And I was like, okay, I'll see you, go with your friends. And I know people here, I'll see you when the night is over. And I remember I was outside and the lights came on. And she called me, she's like, where are you? I'm like, I'm outside. She's like, yeah, come inside. And right on cue, she introduced me to all her 24-year-old friends, just like when I was 34. Kisses me in front of everybody, stakes her claim. And as she introduced me to her girlfriends, she takes that same step back, just like the girl when I was 34. Look at this nigga I found. That's how you know you're still in your prime. Women in the prime of their beauty are choosing you on a biological and sexual level. They can't help their attraction. That young girl looked at me and she was just like, I'm having feelings I never had before. Her biology was thinking for her. And she never envisioned herself with a man 16 years older than her. But the emotions and the attraction was so strong that she went with it and told me we were in a relationship. So I'm saying these things to you. This is not a braggadocious account. This is my personal account that's worked for me in terms of extending my prime as a sexy, attractive man. You have to take inventory of your discernible, attractive qualities. Okay, I have height, I have a certain look. It works for me. But I don't lean on my discernible, attractive qualities. I identify them. Same thing you should do. You have to understand what is working in your favor. Don't look at the next man. Don't look to the right or the left of you and say, I desire the next man's qualities. You're blind to your own qualities at that point. You have to take inventory and be honest with yourself about your discernible, attractive qualities. You might not be the tallest guy, but you might have a nice build. You might hit 33, 35, 37. You're starting to get a little chubby. What do? But you still have a nice build. You take your ass to that gym. You start doing cardio. You start doing strength training. You start watching your diet. Now you're extending your prime. Now women in the prime of their beauty are responding to you. You don't have a victim mindset if you want to be a sexy, attractive man who can extend his prime. You can't have a victim mindset. You have to have a progressive mindset in terms of bettering yourself every day. My college basketball coach told me, he said, you always better your best. And I'm encouraging you to go to extreme measures. Extreme measures. So you take a look at your discernible attractive qualities. You might have fallen off a little bit, but you get back on that horse. You implement the discipline that is necessary for you. You pay attention to your diet. You keep the stress out of your life. And if you want young, beautiful women, another very important thing that you're going to have to do, you have to stay childless, man. After 33 and 34, if you've managed to not have children, you have to start playing defense. Because being childless makes you extremely appealing to young, beautiful women. They can start a family with you. They're looking at you on a biological level. They're looking at you on a biological level. So they don't want to contend with baby mamas and baggage and bad decisions, the residue of bad decisions in your life, you have to start playing defense. You have to start looking at yourself in terms of preserving yourself. That's how you extend your prime. And so you go out, you're 33, 35, 37, 40, like some of the guys my age. But most of the guys my age, some of them have preserved themselves, but most guys begin to kind of fall off a cliff. I'm going to be honest with you. They fall off a fucking cliff. But you preserve yourself as best as you can. You always better your best. You don't leave preserving yourself to chance. You take a concerted, consistent, and aggressive effort every day to preserve yourself and reverse that clock. When you reverse that clock, now those younger women in the prime of their beauty are looking at you. You're their first choice. So when I say play defense, if you've managed not to have children, don't put yourself in positions to have children. Just don't do it. Because ultimately, as a sexy, attractive man, you want the most young, beautiful women that you can possibly get that views you as her first choice. And that's a concerted effort to extend your prime, and you want to have the discipline to remain childless. You're way more appealing. When you're extremely sexy, attractive, you have extreme discipline, and you don't have children. The young woman doesn't wake up and say, you know what, I want a man 10 years older than me. I want a man 15 years older than me. They don't wake up and say that shit to themselves. But when they're captivated by a youthful older man, a man who has a biological and sexual prowess about him, a man that has an energy exuding from him, that he cares about himself, you are taken into very serious consideration. She'll start weighing you against the guys her age. She'll take you for an immediate sexual test drive. She's like, okay, he's a little bit older. Let me see what he's working with. And then you take her to sexual heights. You have more stamina and discipline than the motherfuckers her age. Then on an unconscious level, she's taking you seriously and her heart is connecting with you. Because there's no disconnect between you and the guys her age. You can extend your prime as a sexy, attractive man. You have to accept the level of discipline that it takes in order to extend your prime so that you're physically and sexually appealing to the women in the prime of their beauty. That's your prime. I can't say it any other different ways. Your prime is when women in the prime of their beauty offer themselves to you sexually. No games, no hoops, no gimmicks, no offerings. That's your prime. In extending your prime is a choice that you're going to have to make through an acceptance of your discernible attractive qualities and the extreme discipline that it's going to take to reverse the clock. This has been Matthew C. Horne, author, motivational speaker, and dating coach, bringing you a video talking about extending your prime as a sexually attractive man. It's brought to you by my books, How to Get Beautiful Women and Everything Else You Want from Life, in addition to How to Be Appealing to Successful Black Men for Black Women. They're both available at my website, www.matthewchorne.com. Get your copies. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe, and to continue to push with the algorithm so I can continue to bring you these elevated messages. And to everyone who wants me to make custom videos, I see you all in the comments. Very simple. If you want to present a topic to me that you want me to make a video on, you make a donation of $150 or more to my PayPal or my Cash App donation information that's in my video description, as well as pinned to the top of the comments, okay? There's a note feature on PayPal and Cash App that you can put your title of your video on that you want me to make the video on, and you make your donation. And then I will put your video on my channel, Matthew C. Horne Dating, on YouTube in 24 hours or less. Some of you have more in-depth descriptions that you want me to speak about for your video that are more in-depth than just leaving a note on PayPal or Cash App. If that's the case, I want you to make your $150 or more donation to my PayPal or Cash App. And then I want you to email me at matt@matthewchorne. Matt@matthewchorne.com with your more in-depth description of what you want me to make your video on, and your video will be on my channel in 24 hours or less. And if my message to you tonight has been of value, if your thought process has been elevated as a result of me bringing you this elevated message, and you have a better understanding of yourself. You feel more empowered, more impacted than you were before you watched the video. I want you to make a donation to my PayPal and my Cash App information that's in my video description. I do not take your donations for granted. I'll never tell you what to donate. According to how you've been impacted, just make your donation. That's all I ever ask. I'm bringing you elevated content. I want you all to continue to donate. Your donations continue to help me to grow and elevate as I continue to help you to grow and elevate as well. If you're in need of coaching, if you have issues in the dating space that you know that I can help you to overcome as Matthew C. Horne, author, motivational speaker, and dating coach, I want you to email me at matt@matthewchorne.com. Leave your name, your phone number, and whatever issue that you're facing in the body of the email. Put coaching in the subject matter. And in the body, your name, your phone number, whatever issue that you're facing in the dating space, I'll get right back to you with the terms of the coaching. Once you accept the terms of the coaching, we'll set a date and a time, and then the coaching will commence. Very easy. I'm still looking for 5 individuals who are looking for a year-long coaching journey, because the gentlemen have been getting breakthroughs in my hour-long coaching, so they asked me for something more. I'm introducing the year-long mentorship program with me, Matthew C. Horne, author, motivational speaker, and dating coach. In this year-long program, you'll get a minimum of 3 coaching calls per week. You'll have 24-hour access to me as well. That's why I can only take on 5 people. I'm looking for 5 individuals. Slots are filling up, but they're still available. 24 hours around the clock. You're having any issue in the dating space, you're about to take a woman on a date, you're thinking about how to approach a woman, you can contact me and we will correspond. I'm yours for an entire year. In addition to that, after I've coached you and I've seen you improve, then I'll meet up with you in person and we can go out and approach women together. I can assess you in person and we can spend some time together. It's nothing like that. And there's going to be some life coaching integrated into this as well, because you have to become a particular type of man to have the exact experiences that you want to have in life and in the dating space. So I'm extending that to you as well. If you're interested in a year-long mentorship journey with me, email me at matt@matthewchorne.com. Leave mentorship in the body of the email. Leave your name, your phone number, and whatever issue that you're facing in the dating space in the body of the email. And just tell me where you are in the dating space and where you want to be. And then I will call you, and then we'll discuss the terms of the year-long mentorship program, and we'll determine if we're a good fit to work with one another over the duration of a year. I'm very excited about this program. Lastly, my school community, okay? I have a community outside of YouTube, Matthew C. Horne Dating Coaching Community on the school platform. In this particular community, you get 2 exclusive videos from me every week. And I allow the members of the community to give me topics that they want me to make videos on. So I make my own topics and put videos in the community, and I take the subscribers and the members of the community and I make their videos as well. Every Monday at 8 p.m., we have a Zoom call, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I introduce a topic, I do a monologue. Everyone can ask me questions about it. We can correspond. And then for the remainder of the hour, you can ask me anything you want to ask me. I'm essentially your dating coach for the remainder of the hour. It's an amazing space. You have personal access to me once a week for an hour. There's nothing like it, okay? If you're interested in joining my Matthew C. Horne Dating Coaching Community that's outside of YouTube, is on the school platform, the link to sign up will be in my video description as well as pinned to the top of the comments. I've enjoyed spending some time with you all tonight. And just understand that you all should be having great experiences even as you're getting older as a sexy, attractive man. The most young, gorgeous women in the prime of their beauty should be choosing you with no questions asked, should be offering themselves to you. When you show up as your optimal self and you care about yourself, you exert extreme discipline into your life, you will reverse the clock. And women, young, beautiful women will view you as their first choice. That's how you know you're in your prime. So take everything I said, make a concerted effort, exert extreme discipline, and extend your prime as a sexy, attractive man. I'll see you all soon.